What's good, YouTube? Today I'm going to be showing you how to effectively use the /testfor command and the testfor block and testfor blocks commands on Minecraft Bedrock edition. These commands are very kind of useful. I wouldn't say they're very useful, especially now that execute commands have been out and people are starting to use those. But basically, first I'll be doing testfor. And that /testfor command is you can like test for different players or mobs or entities even. So like you just do testfor and then you can test for a random player, the closest player, all entities, all players. But for the video I'm just gonna be showing like testfor ID. They're all the same, but and then there's like all these different things you can do to like what's it called? To narrow down the test. So there you can do C, which is for the count. So basically the amount of mobs or people you want to find. So you can do like 1, 2, or however many. There's dx, which is the distance between the x coordinate, like where either you can like put in an x or you can just use d, and the x would become the coordinate that the distance of the x is from, or if you don't put an x, it's just the distance from wherever the command's taking place, so either where you're standing or if it's in a command block, the command block. And that's the same with the dy and the dz too. You can have a z or a y, or it will just go from where your command is. Then there's the family command. That's only really useful in like for creating add-ons and stuff because it's just like a family of mobs or something like that. I don't entirely know. I just know it's mainly used for add-ons. And then there's the has item. This you can just like check to see like if a player has a certain item, like if they have a diamond in their inventory, or like if they have a certain amount of items in their inventory, or just basically you can like test for if they have items and or amounts of items or certain data items in their inventory. This can be useful for like making adventure maps. Like you can like when they grab an item, it can like set off a command. So like let's say you were making an adventure map and once they got like a power up, you wanted it to like activate it, so you can just test for when they get like the power up thingy in their inventory, and then it will activate the powers. And you can also test for if it's in a certain slot of their inventory or like their hotbar depending on the item. Then there is L, which what L does is it's like the maximum experience level. So like when you get XP, it goes in like right above your hotbar, and like there's the levels that test for like if they're a maximum experience level, where it won't find them if it's past that. And then there's LM, which is the minimum level that they have to be at in order to do it. And then there's M for like game mode, which you have to like actually put like the certain game modes like A, C, D, or S. D is just like what the world's set to, so. And then you can also, for like most of these things, you can do like not by putting an exclamation mark. So if you wanted to test for if someone wasn't in survival and you wanted it to put them in survival, you can do that. And then after M, there's name, which name is just like you search for an entity or a player with a certain name. So if you like named mob boss and you wanted it to get like regen, you can do that. Then there is R, which R stands for radius, basically how far, like the maximum radius they can be for it to find them. So like if I put 5 blocks, it will only be doing, it will only find stuff within 5 blocks of the command, or if you're doing it in like the chat menu, U. And there's RM, which is the minimum radius, so they can't be with, like if you put 5, then they would have to be further than 5 blocks from you. Then there's RX, which is the maximum vertical rotation. Uh, I think this is just for like, I don't even know. And then there's RXM, which is the minimum vertical rotation. And there's RY for maximum horizontal rotation, and RYM for minimum horizontal rotation. I don't entirely know what those do, but I'm pretty sure you can like do it so like if they're facing a direction. I don't actually know. No, I don't think that's it. Never mind. Okay, well next there's scores. This is for like if they have a scoreboard, you can like test if they have like a certain amount. So let's say I have a score of money. You just do scores equals bracket money, and then money equals a certain amount, let's say like 100. And then you can put dots at the end, like 2 dots, and that would mean that they have to have 100 or more dollars for it to work. Or if you want it to be, you can of course do not 100 and stuff like that too, like with all the other commands. And then after score is tag. Tag is just like you can do like slash tag add, and it will give them like a tag. And you can do tag equals, so it will only affect someone with that tag. Then there's type. Type is for like entities. So like you can do like type equals, and there's all the different ones like the different mobs, or there's item for like just an item on the floor. And yeah. And then after that, there's just X, Y, and Z, which those are just like where you want the command to take place at. So like if I put the X equals 5, then it would be if the command, it will, instead of it like being where the command block is, it would activate the command at X5, if that makes sense. And Y would be the same thing, like if the command was on, like let's say the command was where I'm standing at 5 for -57, but if I put the X at 50, 10, -60, that for the X, Y, and Z, that would be where it would act as if the command was there instead of where it actually is. And those are like all the different selector things for the testfor. Now I'm on to testfor block and testfor blocks. So testfor block is just like you do testfor block, and then you would put where you want the chords to be. So in my case, I would do where I'm standing. Except I'm going to do one lower than me, so I'll put 3. And you can test if at a certain chord there's a certain block. So I can test if there's a grass block below me. And as you can see, it finds the block. So you can use this for like, I don't know, if you want it so they have to like, you can like make it so they have to like build something, and then it will test for all the blocks being in the right spot for it to work. There's also a test for blocks, which is sort of the same, but it's a little different. This tests for if 2 blocks are, like if 2 blocks equal each other. So like if I test for if the where I'm at here is the same as, I don't know, like 5 blocks away from me. If they're both like a certain block, wait, yeah, like that. And then I can test to see if these are both. Wait, did I not do it right? No, I did. Okay. I gotta put 3 more. It will test for if the 2 blocks are the same, and in my case they aren't the same. You can use this for like, what's it called? Basically, you use this to like test if blocks are matching. You can use this for like a building thing too. Also, like if they're building a bigger structure, you can just do this instead of having to do test for block for all the different tiny blocks. You can just test for a big area. And you can also make it like masked. And what that does is it will only do blocks. It won't like count the air and stuff. Or you can test for all blocks. And yeah, that's basically how to use all the testfors. They can be useful if you know how to use them correctly. But then again, execute commands are basically the replacement. You can just use an execute for most stuff, and it's better in most cases. Because like with an execute, you can like do all the same stuff, but also run the next command. So it's just, the only reason I would say use a testfor is to be like more organized-ish. So you have like more commands placed, but if you want to save space, you can just use an execute. And that's gonna do it for today's video. Make sure to if you like the video, to go down and like it, and make sure to like and subscribe. And I'm gonna have links down to my Twitch and TikTok and Realm in the description if you want to check that out. And peace.
Let's go. I'ma make a couple stacks, do exactly what I want to. Mix a couple tracks, get a lady that I'm drawn to. Turn up to the max, get me faded till I'm gone, dude. I do what I want, couldn't stop me if you wanted to. I just work hard, yeah, harder than the rest. Some people say I'm lucky, others say